Greetings, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a great day. Today, we're going to just go through on some setup tricks to get your session started up for pre-recording. So this is going to be the pre-recording we post. It's going to be pre. You feel me? So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our Studio One page, and this trick is going to be extremely suitable, especially for those that don't have interfaces that have a console board on it that allows pre pressers and stuff like that. This is going to help you out. This is going to help out a lot of those Studio One users as well. So if you're on Studio One, this is going to be a dope, cool tool for you. All right, let me make sure that we're on that page. Okay, cool. We're on the display. That's completely fine. All right, so what we have here, this is going to be our pre-inputs. These are our post inputs. What is pre and post? Pre means this is everything that is happening before it actually gets to the DAW. Post means this is the stuff that's going on within the inside the DAW. So when you go to a studio and they have console boards, preamps, and everything before it actually hits the DAW, that's essentially a pre-chain. So we can essentially almost emulate that pre-chain um, in Studio One. So you can do your research on how certain engineers set up or have their setups in studios or certain studio setups. But for today, I'm just going to show you guys how to essentially just get you a decently balanced recorded rough vocal. You know what I'm saying? For you to be able to mix with. So everybody knows that you usually probably got an untreated room with a lot of artists untreated. So you're going to have a lot of nuance and bad EQ stuff and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is we are going to input plugins on this pre-channel that is going to act as a little small pre-cleanup as if we're running a EQ board on the outside before it hits the DAW. So with this gate being on here, all of this, all of this isn't necessarily affected. This is only affected before it goes into the DAW. So with that being said, is whatever I record, anything that's on here is going to be printed to the vocal. It's going to be printed directly to the vocal. So you got to also think about the effects that you put on here. You don't want any drastic effects or drastic tonality changes to the recording because then you won't be able to revert that and I'm saying change up stuff down along when it comes to your mix. So that's just some stuff that you guys are going to have to watch out for and think about. Now this song in particular, this was already a recorded track that was sent in from an artist, so I can't necessarily give you an example from here. But I do have a Tascam US 1200. So that being said, mine has its own console board for pre-EQing, so I already have a pre-EQ on here. So what can we put on this channel? Are you gonna run a gate, of course? Throw the gate on there, don't adjustments, throw a simple gate on there. If your interface or whatever you're running has a mixing hub, running EQs through your mixing hub, you can do everything you're doing here essentially in your hub as well. So we're gonna start off with the gate, of course. Then since I already have EQ on my Tascam, I have my Tascam EQing. So I'll go to my EQ settings on my Tascam so you guys will be able to. So these are going to be the pre EQ settings. These are the EQ settings for everything hits the DAW. I have 1 dB at tip at 500, one boost at 12K, then negative 3 dB of attenuation around 90 hertz. This right here is going to give you a pretty balanced out vocal. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be pretty balanced out. So once you go into the stage and get inside the box, start to have a better vocal to work with. You guys wanted to try this? How do you translate this to over here if you don't have any of that? You literally just pull up any EQ. We'll go off stock. We'll go stock for right now. Pull up the EQ. It's going to be gate, and you're going to go pro EQ, then you're going to do a compressor. So we're going to do it just a simple roll off here. Roll off of 90 hertz. And 24 dB. Roll off of 90 hertz. We'll go to our mid, our low mid. We're gonna just dip this around 500. Sorry, place at 500. We just put one thing for 500. All right, perfect. Then we're gonna take this and we're gonna boost 12K. Nice little shelf. Perfect. And then as well, since we're in the EQ, I don't necessarily do this for mine, but this is something that you could do as well. 200 gets a little bit funky sometimes, so we can take out. You don't want to take out a lot of it. You don't want to take out a lot to make your vocal super and go back. We're gonna go to 200. And we're gonna take out at least 2 dB. Tighten that Q a little bit. All right, so this gets a pretty good a starter place for your vocals. You know what I'm saying, for the pre-EQ vocal. And we're gonna load in a stock compressor. In this compressor, uh, when you're recording with it, you really wanna dial in and watch as you're recording because you only want to get about -1 gain reduction. So once you're dialing your threshold down, you only want to get -1. We're gonna go super fast attack. I mean super frequent. Okay, I'm gonna go super fast attack and medium fast release. So as long as you're set in between zero point 0.2 and about 20 milliseconds, I found that pretty good for recording and starting off because it's just going to catch those transients. It's just going to catch the peak. So if you're using the UAD7, this is my settings for my pre-tracking um, the, on the pre-channel. So these are just some things that you can do in your Studio One that's going to allow you to get a better balanced vocal before you actually start mixing and, you know what I'm saying, messing with it. And that's definitely going to help you if you got a untreated room, like I said, if you got a really untreated room. Got a studio booth over there that is treated very nicely to what I need to do and what I need to record. So I don't really have to worry about that. The room that I'm in, the resonance is not too terrible. I got it pretty down as far as my sound panels and everything, so their functions aren't terrible. But you know what I mean? Those are certain things that you got to just kind of watch out for. So I know if you got a super muddy, untreated room, you're going to want to take out some of that 5 to 600 hertz, 5 to 600 hertz, because that's where you're going to find a lot of that boxy slash room resonance. Taking out nasal issues and all that stuff, you wait for inside the mix to do that. I would take out some 200 that'll leave out from your vocal being too boomy. You know what I mean? And then of course do that low cut right there, that low cut all the way to 90 hertz. So again, this is some stuff that you can do for pre-chain. That's the only thing that you would need to do. Some people ask me, do you print your auto tune? No, I don't print my auto tune. I don't print my auto tune. I don't do none of that. So again, if all of these plugins were off and I were to be recording somebody right now and I wouldn't have my Tascam and stuff like that, I would be putting these 3 plugins and doing these 3 things so that I have a more balanced vocal to work with. For one, I'll have the dynamics of the vocal is going to be pretty straight across because we're going into a compressor, and the vocal is going to be pretty balanced to start off because we're doing slight EQ adjustments. Now that doesn't mean that once you get to the box, you're not going to be doing those same adjustments because you are. This is literally just doing the most slightest stuff just so you got a pretty decent recording. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have a lot of that outboard gear and that analog gear, this is some things that you can do. Now, let's say for instance, you wanted to put a preamp in here. You could do like do your research on studios and how they do their channels on the outside. Gate, preamp, EQ, compressor. 'Cause sometimes they have this stuff routed differently, and sometimes their stuff is routed, you know what I'm saying, different ways. But I guarantee you, if you start doing this and putting stuff on your pre-channel and doing slight stuff, is going to be a lot easier when it's time for you to go in and start mixing stuff. Feel me? So, um, actually, let's do an example real quick. Let's do an example. I'm gonna do it for you. So we're gonna go in here. I'm just gonna open up video template here. I will have this studio template for sale if you are interested in template. I've been all in home base forever. So with that being said, me being in home base and stuff, I do a lot of in home studio stuff. So anybody that has in home stuff, I guarantee you that I'm doing something that's gonna be able to. All right, so let's open up a fresh page, and got this fresh page opened up. Let me just open this up so you guys can be able to hear what's coming out of this bad boy here. All right, so really quickly, I'm gonna connect my desktop to my remote, so I'll be able to a booth, and I'm inside the booth really quick. Hold on, not available. It's crazy. Oh my gosh, they keep hitting me. Wanted to find it. All right, okay, perfect. Now I should only need my mouse. So go to the booth really quick, and I'm going to actually I'm going to mute my actual microphone, and it's going to pick up my audio once I actually get in the booth. So all right, so I got that loaded up. What we do now is turn on our preamp. On the preamp, we're gonna turn this down a little bit. All right, and let's load a random beat in it. Just something super random. I don't know what beat to upload in here, but something super random. All right, hold on real quick. All right, perfect. And I'm gonna load a beat into here. Um, uh, the, let's see. The random. Want to get to my document? Perfect. I don't have a lot exported. I want to do one that's a little bit more auto tuning. Uh, only reason why I want to do one that's a little bit more auto tune because that's usually what a lot of people are recording on now. The auto tune and rap types. So, one moment, please, as I find trying to find the damn download folder. Oh, here's some beats. What is this? right, let's throw that one in there. All right, we're throwing this beat in real quick. All right, so when y'all throw y'all beat in, we're just gonna do a full slight breakdown before I get into showing y'all the examples. We're gonna do a full breakdown before I start showing y'all the examples of putting your pre-recording and everything like that. So one thing I'm also going to do is disengage my pre-EQ here, so it's coming in all completely raw. It's gonna be a completely raw vocal. When you're recording, you want the smallest sample size that your computer allows, of course. 48 hertz if your computer allows it. That's gonna be the best quality. We're gonna turn this down. We're gonna turn this beat down until we get about negative 6 gain reduction. Perfect. And then once I get the negative 6 gain reduction, I'll dial it down on the fader until it gets to negative 12. All right, cool. Perfect. All right, so run a little key finder on here. Key finder. Finder on this bad boy. Now, I like to use waves. I know a lot of people use Entrance. You're going to get different kind of auto tunes from both of them. I feel like Waves is a lot more cleaner auto tune. Entrance is a little bit more playful. Not messy, but it's more playful. All right, so we got our auto tune engaged on our actual inside the box. This is our post channel. Our auto tune is engaged. Now we're going to go to our printed channel here. Now on our printed channel, we're literally just going to put a gate and 76. Actually, I think I can do all of this while I'm inside the booth. So let's go inside the booth. And yeah, my microphone should be on. Oh, bring up on real quick. All right, microphone is on.
So now we're back, and that's fixed our latency issue. Cool. All right, so this is a completely raw vocal right here. This is like completely raw as fuck. We're gonna turn on some auto tune, turn on a little bit of reverb real quick, just to catch a little vibe and a little buzz. You know what I mean? Just so we can freestyle on this mug real quick, and I'm just gonna freestyle a couple little bars and show y'all the difference and see, so you can see, you know what I'm saying, what the difference it makes. You know what I mean? So let's do completely raw. Sorry, let me take this off real quick. All right, let's do completely raw. Pay attention to the waveforms as well. Too much money, I'm a boss. Too much money, I'm the boss. Too much money, all I know is do. She don't know no money. It'd probably be best if we turn the key to the right thing, huh? All right, so let's run that back and try it again. Again, pay attention to the waveforms and everything. Too much money, call deposits. These niggas bitches coming out the closet. Why you don't applaud it? Cause there's too much in my pockets. Getting money, gotta start. I got ADHD for them rats. I been running to them as they tell me relax. Got a QB and turn to a running back. Alright, so you see, let's look at these wave files here. You see the difference right here. We got, it's not dynamic. You know what I'm saying? We got peaking parts here. not peaking as far as like distortion, but just you can just see the dynamic waveforms there. There's no consistency. You feel me? Now, and let's play it back in here like how it sounds EQ wise too. Again, pay attention to the waveforms and everything. Too much money called deposits. These niggas bitches coming out the closet. Why you don't applaud it? Alright. Oh, shit. Hit the mic by accident. Alright, so now let's engage our effects here on the pre-channel. Ooh, that already sounds good just going in. I know you hear the difference there. Alright, let's duplicate this track. Go under it. And now we're going to record into the actual compressor and our EQ that we had set with the 12K boost. 11K, 12K. It's supposed to be 12K, but you know what I'm saying. The 12K boost, 1 dB. You know what I'm saying. The dip at the 200, 90, and the dip at 5. All right, let's go. Yeah. 6-4 make this beat. Too many poles, nigga, what's cracking? Knock him down, look at him like what happened. Different equation, he ain't a fraction. Non-factor, if he want that action. Niggas, bitches, all they wear depends. We online backwards, got the fence. Make a nigga hop the fence. Wardrobe is my rent. All my niggas blicked up with suspense. Alright, so you see? Alright, so look. You can already tell off rip. You can see the consistency and the dynamic waveform is consistent across the board. And just off that simple EQ, it cleaned up a lot. It cleaned up a lot. Again, this is the raw. Play the raw. Again, pay attention to the waveforms and everything. Too much money called deposits. These niggas bitches coming out the closet. Alright, now the one that we why you don't applaud the pre-insert. Too much in my pocket. Getting money, just all they wear depends. We pose, nigga, what's cracking? Knock him down, look at him like what happened. Different equation, he ain't a fraction. Non-factor, if he want that action. Niggas, bitches, all they wear depends. We online backwards, got the fence. Alright, so you can really see the difference if you were to put some of those little small cleanup plugins for your pre-recording. Again, you don't want drastic change. We only want about 3 dB of attenuation on the compressor, just taming those peaks, and we only want to kiss it on the EQ. You could do all your surgical and extra stuff once you get into the box. This is in the box. This is slightly out of the box, but in the box, if that makes sense. This is essentially us emulating outboard gear. You feel me? So again, do your research on different ways that studios have their outboard gear set up, and essentially, you can try to emulate that inside of Studio One. You feel me? So this is gonna be a good way to give your engineer a nice balanced vocal and a better sounding vocal, and it's gonna give you a little bit more spark and umph when you're recording too, because it's gonna be sounding good. But just understand that that's not the fix for the overall. That's just giving you a good tracked out vocal. You feel me? So yeah, peace and love, y'all, man. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day, and hopefully this video was some justice for you. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Peace and love. Another episode of Behind the Faders.